All right, greetings, life science students. As you can see, today we're doing something a little bit different. Since you guys are working on your anatomy projects, I thought I would broadcast something to you today from my virtual lab. As you can see here, I've got my desks for you to hang out with me. I've got a special office here where we can talk about what's going on. We've got some nice pictures of the anatomy that you may be familiar with or starting to be familiar with. And of course, we have the surgery training center there. If we wanted to do dissections together, that's what we can do. But anyway, this is going to be the first of maybe many videos like this. So if you really like it, please put some comments below and let me know how you feel about it. Today I wanted to not give you any new stuff because I know you're working on your projects this week, but I wanted to do a little bit of review of some of the anatomy that we've been talking about using this new environment. So if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, drop some comments below. If you are interested in getting your own setup like this, also ask me about that, and then that way we can meet here and we can actually talk together and we can see some of this stuff together as if we were in the same room. So if you're interested in that, please drop some comments, let me know, and maybe we can talk about how we can make that happen. So we have been doing the skeletal system and the muscular system, okay? So what I wanted to do today was go over some of that, and in order to help me with that, I have my friend here. I'm calling him Skeletor for today. And as you can see, this is a full skeleton that we can walk around and enjoy looking at. We can take parts of if we wanted to. Here I'm taking a rib here, but I'm going to put that back. We can look at specific elements that we've been working on. We can also learn all sorts of information about it. And of course, we can look at how everything moves too. So let's do a little bit of review of what we've been working on since you guys are working on your projects. So as you can see, we've got some of the major bones that you learned about. Of course, we have here the cranium with all the subparts to the cranium. Now you'll notice when we look over here, you'll see these little they look like cracks in the bone, but they're not actually cracks. This is one of the types of joints that you learned about in your readings, right? So this is the fixed joint that doesn't move, but it needs to be a joint so that this cranium can expand and grow as the person is growing, right? Of course, here's our rib cage. If we walk around here, you can see the vertebrae, right? The spinal column. And this is a different type of joint that you learned about. So this is a gliding joint. So it allows your vertebrae to move as you're moving your back. So it allows some motion, but not too much motion. Here is another joint that you learned about. Okay, from the shape you should be able to remember this is a ball and socket joint. And then if we walk over here, this is another joint that you also learned about. This is the hinge joint, right? Here's another ball and socket joint, right? So we've got fixed, we've got gliding, we've got hinge, and we have ball and socket. Here's another hinge joint here, right? And some of the major bones that you probably remember this guy, the humerus, right? You probably remember the radius and the ulna. Remember, the radius is the one that lines up with your thumb. The ulna is the one that lines up with your pinky. That's a good way to remember it because that way, even if you rotate your wrist, they will still line up that way. Of course, here's the pelvis, and the ilium is one of the sections of the pelvis. And let's see, we've got the femur. That's another major one that we worked on together. Put that guy back. And then if we go down here, let's see, we've got the tibia and we've got the fibula. And then whether you're looking at the hands or the feet, you have the phalanges, you have the metacarpals, and you have the carpals. And same thing here, phalanges, and then you have the metatarsals, and then the tarsals. And let's see, what else do we have here? We have the jawbone. It's also called the mandible. I can take that out there. And let's see how some of these things move. So we talked about the joints and how they move. So let's see if we can see some examples of that. All right. So we talked about the gliding joints, right, in the vertebrae. So if we look at this movement, for example, we can see that the vertebrae can move and glide against each other, and that's what the gliding joints allow us to do. See, a little bit of movement, but it limits the movement, so it protects the spinal cord. Here's another example of the gliding joints at work. This one you can see a little bit better even. You can see as you nod your head like that, the gliding joints are moving. And let's see if we can find a different, let's see, shoulder joint. So this, now we're moving, you can see the ball and socket really moving here. And in this case, we're moving in one range of motion. But we can also move like this. And so here you see the action of the ball and socket joint. Let's see what else we can find. Another action that the ball and socket joint can do. So you can see that this joint can move very freely in all directions because it's a ball and socket joint. Let's see what else we can find. Of course, the fixed joints don't move, but so far we've done ball and socket, we've done gliding. So let's see if we can find a hinge joint here. See, if you had one of these headsets with me, then we could actually do this as a kind of quiz, and you can move and you can show me how these joints move. But for now, this will be a good review as you're working on your projects. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, okay, the elbow joint, that's a good hinge. So let's see the hinge of the elbow joint. There we go. So you see the elbow can only move in this plane of motion. So you can see the hinge joint in action right now, and you can try it yourself. And this is probably one of the ones that you did with the exercise of the day. If you worked on your bicep muscle, then this is the kind of movement that your elbow joint did around the humerus and the radius and the ulna. So let's see if we can find another hinge joint. What else do we have here? I'm looking for the knee as a good example. Here we go. There we go. So here's another hinge joint at work. I'm going to bend down here so you can see it clearly. There's the knee. And I really wish I had all of you guys here today so that we could do this together, but I hope this review is a nice way of you to see how these things work together because we've been talking about them a lot. So let's go now. I'm going to go back here to the muscular system now. So now we are done with reviewing the skeletal system and we're looking at the muscular system. So again, I can walk around here. I can check out this muscular system and we can see some of the major muscles that we learned about. Of course, you remember our friend, the biceps, right? You can see the muscle fiber here, along with the tissue that connects the muscle to the bone. You should remember what that tissue is called. And then we can see the tricep here, another major muscle that you talked about and you worked on. And of course we have the abdominals, we have the pectoralis muscles. What else? We have the quadriceps. This is one of the quadricep muscles. This is another one. And then we have the gastrocnemius, your calf muscle. So some of the major muscles that you worked on, and I saw as you guys were filling in your spreadsheets from the exercise of the day, you were correctly identifying all of these muscles, which is really great. And let's see if we can see oops, nope, that's not what we wanted. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can see the So here lets us see the leg muscles on top of the bone. So you can see how they connect to the bone. And you should remember not only the names of these major muscles, but you should also remember the names of the tissues that connect the muscles to the bone, right? So for example, this guy right here, I'm hoping that you remember the name of that. And we can do the same with our, see, every muscle fiber, bundle of muscle fibers that I take out, you can see the muscle itself, and then you can see the connection points to the bones. So that's our little review. And I'm going to go back here and actually open up. I'm going to open up this diagram of one of our familiar organs. Remember, we did our heart dissection, but here we can look at a virtual version of that, and we can look at the ventricles and the atria. And I hope as you're working on your projects, you're thinking about what your heart is doing as you do your exercise of the day, and that's going to be another part of our assessment. So keep that in mind as well. I'm going to go back over here to our friend Skeletor, and we're going to say goodbye to Skeletor, because that's going to be the end of our video for today. Before I end this video, I need to remind you to post a response to my video. Post your own response to my video, and tell me a little bit about what you're working on with your project. Give me a new update. The same questions that you answered when you did a video response of your update last time. I want you to give me the same sort of update, but show me new pictures of your project. Show me new videos of your project. You guys have been doing a really great job with the videos and the updates of the project, so show me more of that. And drop the link to your video in the comments. Give me a private comment, and I'll make some evaluations and some comments on that, and we can keep going. Last thing I want to let you know is please remember to keep working on updating your spreadsheet for the exercise of the day, because we're also going to do an assessment on that pretty soon. Okay? So I think that's all for today. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the drop-ins. And now we're going to give Skeletor a high five, and we're going to see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.